Study on Matthew 16:21-24, KJV. Get thee behind me, Satan. From that time forth began Jesus to show unto his disciples how that he must go unto Jerusalem, and suffer many things of the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be killed, and be raised again the third day. Then Peter took him and began to rebuke him, saying, Be it far from thee, Lord, this shall not be unto thee. But he turned and said unto Peter, Get thee behind me, Satan. Thou art an offense unto me, for thou savorest not the things that be of God, but those that be of men. Then said Jesus unto his disciples, If any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. Historical understanding of the passage. In this passage, Jesus begins to explicitly reveal his impending suffering, death, and resurrection to his disciples. This marks a turning point in his ministry, shifting from public teaching to preparing his followers for the cross. 1. Jesus' prediction, verse 21. Jesus foretells his betrayal, suffering at the hands of Jewish religious leaders, death, and resurrection. This was shocking to the disciples who expected a triumphant Messiah, not a suffering servant, Isaiah 53. Peter's reaction, v22. Peter, likely speaking from affection and misunderstanding, rebukes Jesus. His words reflect common Jewish expectations of a political deliverer, not a sacrificial savior. 3. Jesus' rebuke, verse 23. Jesus sharply corrects Peter, identifying his words as satanic in origin because they oppose God's redemptive plan. Peter's mindset was worldly, not aligned with divine purpose. The call to discipleship, verse 24. Jesus then teaches that true followers must deny themselves, embrace suffering, symbolized by the cross, and submit to his lordship, a radical demand in a culture that valued self-preservation. Spiritual understanding of the passage. This passage holds deep spiritual truths for believers today. 1. The necessity of Christ's suffering. Jesus' death was not a tragic accident, but God's ordained plan for salvation, Acts 2:23. Any attempt to avoid the cross undermines the gospel. The danger of human reasoning. Peter's resistance illustrates how human wisdom often contradicts God's will. Spiritual discernment is needed to embrace God's ways, 1 Corinthians 2:14. The cost of discipleship. Jesus calls believers to complete surrender, dying to self, bearing trials, and following him wholeheartedly, Luke 9:23. The cross represents love, sacrifice, obedience, and identification with Christ. Matthew 16:21-24 presents both a historical account of Jesus preparing his disciples for his death and a timeless spiritual challenge. Historically, it reveals the disciples' struggle to accept God's plan over human expectations. Spiritually, it calls every believer to reject self-centered living, embrace God's will even in suffering, and fully commit to following Christ. Just as Peter had to learn submission to divine purpose, so must we take up our cross daily and walk in surrender to the Lord.